doesn't, something's wrong here, but
All good.
yeah, it's all good stuff.
I actually did.
Just doing
Well, we're gonna go ahead and begin, and you're welcome to go ahead and mute yourselves. Oh, I need to make Yona and Tim the co-hosts, so there's always something with Zoom.
Nice to see you, Anne.
And start the stream.
My mute won't work.
We'll take care of you. Okay. All right, Yona, you can spotlight us.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom will begin in song. Melody without words, lovely nigun. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai Continue in song with Shalom Aleichem, welcoming one another, welcoming the angels of Shabbat who bring with them peace into our hearts, into our midst. Page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShalit, Malachei Shabbat Shalom, welcome. It's good to be together. It's good to have Shabbat enter our midst after a week of work, a week of school. Of course, there's a lot of ruach, a lot of wind outside, but ruach, the Hebrew word for wind, is also the word for spirit. So that's what we hope to take with us into our homes and to share with one another across cyberspace. we have some guests with us tonight, and it is a real blessing to be able to welcome the First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church in Medfield, and they have an 8th grade class that has been focusing on different faiths in their learning, and had an opportunity to visit with them a few minutes before the service, and they're joining to observe, so we're glad to welcome them. And of course, there's always connections. It was wonderful to see a former player of mine who I had the privilege of coaching in soccer, William, and we learned that another student, Grace, has known our bat mitzvah this Shabbat, Lily Beck, nearly their entire lives, and they go to school together and went to preschool together. So lots of connections, and invite you to use the chat to offer one another a Shabbat Shalom. And we're going to turn now to the Beck family, as Lily will be called to the Torah tomorrow as a bat mitzvah, and we are going to invite Marla and Lily to light and bless our Shabbat candles. We're on pages 2 and 3.
Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Ready? Are you going to do it with me?
Sure.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hadlekner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvah, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. That's it.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Marla. And Lily will turn back to you a little later in our service. And it's good to see everyone's Shabbat light in your homes. We're going to continue on page 12 in your prayer book. As we welcome in Shabbat, it is customary to sing from the Psalms. And on page 12, you'll find Psalm 95, L'chu Neranena. Rabbi Micah is pulling up some English as well. And as you know, this was going to be our first outdoor Shabbat, but the wind advisory advised us against doing that. But L'chu Neranena, Psalm 95, speaks to the wonders of nature, how our voices call out and sing out to the mountains and the seas, and we feel God's holiness in our natural surroundings. So we'll join in this psalm thinking about nature, also thinking about Lag BaOmer, which we'll talk a little bit more about later in our service.
Well, my computer is not cooperating with me, so we are not going to sing that psalm. We're going to move on to a different psalm, Psalm 121. I lift my eyes to the mountains, from where my help will come. Esa Enai. Esa Enai El Harim. Esa Enai We're going to continue on page 20 and 21 as we welcome the Shabbat bride by singing Lecha Dodi, the image that we are welcoming Shabbat as a queen of time, a queen of holiness into our midst. Lecha Dodi likrat kala v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, yishmi'anu el ha'meichad, Adonai echad, shemo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'nitila. Dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lefunecha, yihi bekor haberacha, ve'erosh mikerem nesucha, zoch ma'aseh v'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, Iva orech umiori, uri, uri, shivaleri, kevod Adonai alayich nikrat. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Bori v'shalom ateret balav, kam b'simcha u'betzora, toch emunei am segula. Bori chalav, bori chalav, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'ni Shabbat nekabela. We'll invite you to remain standing on page 28. For our call to prayer, we'll begin with words that remind us to be in this moment, to open our eyes and be present. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Continue giving thanks for the onset of evening on page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current into day. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue on page 32 as we give thanks to God for giving us the gift of Torah. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Continue with Shema on page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
As we chant these words of Ve'ahavta that remind us to pass on our tradition to our children, we're going to turn our screen to the home of Lily Beck. And Lily, you can go ahead and lead us in Ve'ahavta, page 36.
I can't find it.
Right here.
This one? Yeah, okay. That's there.
Okay. Ready?
Okay. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Elohim mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta ba'am, v'shitecha b'veitecha, uvlatecha b'derech, uvshokbecha, uvkumecha, uvshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu latotafo b'neinecha. Uvtavtam aluzofeteha uvishareha leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Eloheichem. Ani Adonai Eloheichem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lahem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Eloheichem.
All right, Yasher Koach, thank you, Lily. We'll continue now on the top of page 40 as we sing these ancient words of justice, ancient words of freedom. Michamocha.
Amo, Papa, Eli, Mado.
כיפת אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. On page 42, we'll continue with our Hashkivenu prayer so we can see one another connected on our screens, and those who are through live stream. We extend this image of God's Sukkot Shalom, God's shelter of peace, spread over all of us and spread over Jerusalem.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Adonai Eloheinu Shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. U'shmor tzedekenu u'ro'enu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. V'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Baruch atah Adonai haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. On page 44, we celebrate this weekly gift of Shabbat, this weekly gift of time of peace and joy and rest. V'shamru. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. We rise in body or in spirit, page 46 for our tefillah, our central prayer, which will begin all together and then take a few moments to add the prayers from our hearts, our own private prayer. Page 46. Sifatai tiftach ufi agit tehillatech.
Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol Atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel Chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. We continue silently. We invite you to come back together with us on page 62. Again, words
62.
from the Psalms. We turn our thoughts now to loved ones who are ill as we add Misha Berach, our prayer for healing. You can find the words on page 253. And especially this week, we hold one another up. Our dog is in some pain because he sees a friend going by our house. We especially think of all of our loved ones who are ill, and we hold one another up in whatever pain we might be feeling in this moment, whether that's physical, emotional, spiritual. We pray for health and healing for any of this pain that we are holding. We pray for Colin Monroe, Jerry Seligman, Mary Lou Hole, Janet Watson, Paul Robillard, Elizabeth Hill, Kelso Silva, Enrico Mascaro, Deborah Booker, Dick Feivelman, Amy Seith, Robert Bloom, Annalise Stone, Bernard Tarr, Benjamin Horowitz, Bradley Dichter, Matteo Goldman, Judy Cook, Fruma Batarav, Jacob Visonia, Dan Ruggiero, Harvey Grassfield, Toby Weiner, Svetlana Rabinovich, Bob Weller, Dalia Harel, Herb Kupferschmidt, Esya Rashevskaya, Amy Fastberg-Kurtz, Eileen Arnone, and Charles Atkins. We invite you, if you are on Zoom, you're welcome to add any other names into the chat or name any other loved ones in need of healing in your hearts. Shabbat Shalom again. Tonight I would like to share a story from the Hasidic tradition. Whenever the Baal Shem Tov, the great master of Hasidism, whose name means the master of a good name, Baal Shem Tov, whenever he saw misfortune threatening the Jews, it was his custom to go to a secret place in a forest to meditate. There he would light a special fire, say a special prayer, and sing a little nigun, a melody without words, like how we started our service tonight. And then, without fail, a miracle happened, and his people were saved from danger. This worked well until the Baal Shem Tov died. Now what for the Jewish people? When the next crisis loomed, his student, the Maggid of Mezerich needed to do the same thing on behalf of his community. And so he went to that same special place in the forest of which his teacher graciously showed him. And he said, "Master of the universe, I don't know how to light the special fire of my teacher, but I can sing that nigun and I remember the prayer. Please let that be good enough." And it was. Now, when the Maggid passed away, the responsibility was left to his student, Rabbi Moshe Leib of Sasov. And so, at the next time of crisis, Rabbi Moshe Leib went to that same place in the forest and said, "Master of the universe, I don't know how to light the fire, and I don't know the prayer of my teacher, and even the song I don't remember so well. But I stand in the place where he stood, and I beg for your mercy. Please let that be good enough." And it was. Then, years later, it fell to Yisrael of Rezhin, the Maggid's student, to overcome misfortune for his community. The story goes that when danger loomed for his people, Yisrael would sit in his chair and sigh the deepest of sighs. With his head in his hands, he cried out, "Master of the universe, I am unable to light the fire, and I do not know the prayer or how the song goes, and I cannot even find that special place in the forest. All I can do is tell the story about how the Baal Shem Tov used to go and do all these things in that special place. All I remember is the story. Please let that be good enough." And it was. It always was. This story contains powerful symbols: fire, prayer, song, holy place. Many of you may know that the Jewish holiday of bonfires just ended. Today was Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day in the counting of the Omer, this counting that connects the holiday of Passover with Shavuot. In Jewish tradition, this day was designated as a minor festival, a day of celebration during a historic period of persecution and plague. There was a momentary pause in crisis, a time to take a breath and go outside. Perhaps this sounds familiar to us living today. In Israel, over time, the day became celebrated outdoors with barbecues and bonfires. Some also view the fire as the light of Torah in dark times. While bonfires signal the arrival of warmer weather, there is something deeper about the warmth and light that we feel around the fire. Judaism has always viewed fire and light as symbols of our undying spirit. This week's Torah portion and more also contains a reminder about the instruction to establish the Ner Tamid, the eternal light that is found in every synagogue above the ark. In a midrash, an interpretation, the rabbis were quick to notice the paradox. Why would God need our light? Our tradition wrestles with this question of how we, human beings, can create such a powerful light, a light that is never extinguished. Ultimately, the rabbis see the Ner Tamid as not only the symbol of God's presence, but also the centrality of the human soul, the effort that we each make to transform our world. It is incumbent upon us, human beings, to keep lighting the flame. The Talmudic sage Bar Kapara explained, "The Holy One of Blessing asked humankind, 'Your lamp is in my hand, and shall my lamp be in your hands?' the Holy One of Blessing, responded, "If you light my lamp, I shall light yours." In other words, there is a reciprocity to our relationship with God. God needs our light because it is each of our small sparks that illumine the path of righteousness and compassion for our neighbors, that illumine the path of light in dark times. It is our human responsibility to pass on this spark from one generation to the next. Each week, I see these flames as we light Shabbat candles together. As I hear the voices of children practicing their prayers, and as I witness the members of our community share and act upon what you care about most. Especially now when we are not in our special place, the sanctuary at Temple Beth David, that place remains inside of us. Like the story of the Baal Shem Tov, it is up to us to keep holding up our community. So ignite the fire, let the melody pour from your heart, find the words of your prayer, find your sacred place, and tell the story. And this will be good enough, as it always was. Shabbat Shalom. I invite you to join with me now in the counting of the Omer, which you can find the blessing on page 278 in our books. Rabbi Micah is about to screen share the beautiful Omer calendar from our sanctuary, and I would just take this moment to also acknowledge the tragedy in Israel as hundreds of thousands of people were celebrating the holiday of Lag BaOmer. I imagine you've heard the news that we are mourning tragic deaths, many who were injured, and we hold all those who are suffering right now in our hearts from this day that was meant to be a day of joy, that was turned into a day of sadness. Yet in the Jewish community, we keep counting up. This counting also, again, reminds us of continuing to light those flames and continuing to make each day count. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Today is now the 34th day of the Omer, which is 4 weeks and 6 days of our counting.
I want to share a few brief announcements. Of course, Shabbat continues tomorrow morning. Everyone's welcome to join the Shabbat morning Leiled Minyan at 9 a.m. Of course, you can find the Zoom link on your shofar email. At 10:30, we hope you'll join us for Lily Beck's bat mitzvah as she's called to the Torah and as she teaches us Torah, and we're really excited to celebrate with the Beck family, and you're welcome to join again either via Zoom or the live stream link just live stream on the Temple website. So please do support Lily. This Sunday at 4 p.m. Sisterhood is hosting a speaker, Dr. Bridget Arrow, a PhD psychologist and academic who will speak on indigenous culture and history. She's an engaging speaker and brings both personal and historical perspective. Next Friday, we're going to try to get back outside into the lot. We are at the mercy of the weather, so barring rain, wind, snow, or sleet. Is there any other kind of weather here in Massachusetts? I'm not sure, but we're going to hopefully be out in the parking lot. Either way, Rabbi Paul Citron, my dad, and Susie Citron, stepmother, will be joining us. Rabbi Paul Citron will join Rabbi Karen Citron and Rabbi Micah Citron in a little Ask the Rabbi session in place of a sermon or Dvar Torah. So check your e-shofar this week. We're going to invite you to send your questions in advance. That way we'll have them whether we're in the parking lot or on Zoom if it happens to be raining. But we'd love to have your questions in advance, and you'll hear 3 different responses to different questions you might have regarding the Jewish tradition.
I just want to clarify that is not Stump the Rabbi, that is Ask the Rabbi. So please send your genuine questions, anything you might be wondering about Judaism, what Judaism has to say about something. And we are going to be trying to be outdoors for Shabbat morning as well, service especially for our Shorashim students, but you'll be able to sign up for that if you're interested. Again, everything else is in your email. Lots of programs that feed our intellect, our emotion, our mental health coming up. So please check that out. We'll continue on page 282 with Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol L'Tekiru L'Yotzer Breshit Shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot Velo salmanu k'mishpachot ha'adama Shelo sam chalkenu kahem Vegor aleinu kechol hamonam V'anachnu korim Umishtachavim umodim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai L'melech al kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo Echad. Page 291. There are stars up above so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We take this moment in our service for memory, as we are especially thinking of these loved ones who have passed away in recent weeks. Dr. Herbert Brovsky, father of Ann Cooper-Schmidt, father-in-law of Jeff, and grandfather of Daniel and Rachel, and Ann Single, a longtime member of Beth David. We remember these loved ones whose yahrzeit, anniversary of death, occur on this Shabbat. Miriam Mickey Allen, Nathaniel S. Eston, Edna Glasgow, Harvey B. Kramer, Barnett Lubenstein, Pauline Lubenstein, Ira Pelzer, Leatrice Robinson, Scott Wang, Harold Watsky, Rose Blackman, Paula Epstein. And to any of these names, again, we invite you to name anyone else in your heart, enter on other names into our chat. We'll join on page 294 with Mourner's Kaddish, our ancient prayer that does not mention death, but offers words of praise for the source of all life. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen, Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, Damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who makes peace above, bring peace here amongst all of us, especially all who are bereaved. And we say, Amen. Amen. We're going to go ahead and end with those words of shalom, words of peace, and then we'll turn it back over to Lily to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi.
Oseh shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleikum, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'yakol yoshvei tevel, ve'imu. Shalom Aleichem, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'yakol yoshvei tevel, ve'imu. Shalom Aleichem, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'yakol yoshvei tevel, ve'imu. Oseh shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleichem, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'yakol yoshvei tevel, ve'imu. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to turn to page 5, and again, we'll spotlight Lily and her family. It's nice to see you, Michael, as well. And again, we're excited to join you in the sanctuary tomorrow. Please go ahead and lead us in Kiddush and Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'shabbat kodesh ve'ahava ratzon hinhilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, kihuyan tehila lemikra'e kodesh, zeher l'zriyat Mitzrayim, kihuranu b'hata ve'otanu b'dashta, mikra'o b'alemim. Shabbat kodesh minhatanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekra Hadesh HaShabbat.
And then
L'chaim.
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 Take us out.
right there.
Or Marla, you can.
Either way, yeah.
All right. Do you guys have some challah there?
We do.
Yeah.
Yep,
Michael,
we do.
Michael, do you have a Shabbat hoodie? I didn't recognize you. You should get a Shabbat hoodie.
I made him not be able to wear one.
I understand.
All right. Please lead us in Motzi. Then we'll invite everyone to unmute.
Yeah. Okay. All right, do the prayer. Ready?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
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 Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Everyone.
Nicely done. We'll see you guys in the sanctuary. We'll invite everyone who's on